On a peaceful morning of September 16, 2025, the film world lost a great icon when Robert Redford passed away at the age of 89 at his home in Utah. He passed away in his sleep, a gentle, painless departure, ending a life journey that spanned nearly 9 decades full of brilliant achievements. News of his passing spread quickly, leaving millions of fans around the world shocked and regretful. Robert Redford was not only a talented actor, but also a pioneering director, a passionate social activist, and an icon of classic Hollywood beauty. His passing left a huge void in the hearts of those who were passionate about his roles, from the romantic cowboy to the profound philosophical characters. Fans' regrets do not stop at the iconic roles, but also the legacy he left for the film industry. Robert Redford helped shape independent cinema by founding the Sundance Film Festival, which nurtured thousands of young talents. He died surrounded by his family at the home in Sundance, Utah, which he had spent much of his life building and protecting. The exact cause of death has not been released, but that has not diminished the respect the world has for him. A series of tributes from colleagues, friends, and fans poured in, emphasizing that Robert Redford was not only a star, but also a human being with a kind heart, always fighting for the environment and social justice. Robert Redford's journey began with a difficult childhood in California, led to the heights of fame in Hollywood, and ended peacefully in Utah. He lived a colorful life, with 6 decades of involvement in cinema, from his first roles to the films he directed. His passing marks the end of an era where classic masculine beauty meets profound wisdom. Fans from all over the world, from America to Europe, from Asia to Africa, have expressed their deep sadness. They remember him as a living legend, a man who changed the way we look at cinema and life. In this introduction, we not only mourn his passing, but also pay tribute to his contributions. Robert Redford lived a full life with an endless passion for art and nature. He passed away at the age of 89, but his legacy will live on, inspiring future generations. Let's take a look back at his life journey, from the beginning to the peak, to understand why his passing has caused such sadness around the world. Charles Robert Redford Jr. was born on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California, to a middle-class family. His father was Charles Robert Redford Sr., an accountant, and his mother was Martha Woodruff Redford, a native of Texas. His early life was not always easy. His family moved to Van Nuys, a suburb of Los Angeles, where he grew up amid bustling streets and a rapidly urbanizing atmosphere. From an early age, Robert showed an interest in art and sports, but he described himself as a bad student, often skipping school to explore the world around him. As a child, Robert contracted a mild case of polio at age 11, an illness that left him hospitalized for several weeks. The experience gave him inner strength, helping him learn to overcome difficulties. He often said that trips to Texas to visit his grandmother sparked his love of nature. There he roamed the vast fields, fishing and observing wildlife, activities that would later become the basis for his environmental activism. His family was not wealthy, but his parents always encouraged him to pursue his passions, whether it was painting or playing sports. At Van Nuys High School, Robert was classmates with the famous baseball player Don Drysdale. He joined the baseball and tennis teams, where he developed leadership skills and resilience. However, academics were not his strong point. He was often distracted by dreams of a life of adventure. After graduating in 1954, he accepted an athletic scholarship to the University of Colorado, where he studied painting and joined the Kappa Sigma fraternity. But after only a year and a half, he was expelled for drinking too much, a period he later called his rebellious period. After leaving college, Robert decided to travel to Europe, living in France and Italy to study painting. He wandered through ancient cities, painted on the streets, and experienced diverse cultures. These years shaped his artistic style, which combined natural beauty with human beings. Returning to the United States, he attended Pratt Institute in Brooklyn to study painting, then transferred to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York in 1959. This was the turning point where he began to explore acting, a field he initially considered a side hobby. Robert Redford's early years were full of challenges and discoveries. He worked many jobs to make a living, from waiting tables to manual labor, all of which helped him gain a better understanding of real life. These experiences not only shaped his character, but also provided material for his later roles, where he often portrayed complex characters struggling with internal conflict. From a mischievous boy in California to a young artist in New York, his journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and passion. After graduating from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, Robert Redford began his career on Broadway. His first role was a small part in Tall Story in 1959, where he made a brief appearance but left an impression on the director. This was followed by a role in The Highest Tree, a serious social drama which taught him deep acting. He quickly gained attention for his good looks and deep voice, which set him apart from the crowd of young actors. In 1961, he was cast in Sunday in New York, a romantic comedy in which he played a charming young man. This role brought him critical recognition, with reviews praising his natural comedic abilities. However, his stage peak came in 1963 in Barefoot in the Park, a play by Neil Simon in which he played Paul Bratter, a newlywed lawyer. The play ran for over 1,500 performances, and Robert became a Broadway star with great chemistry with Elizabeth Ashley. Broadway was not only where he honed his skills, but also where he learned about collaboration. He worked with famous directors, learned how to control his emotions, and interact with a live audience. These years were difficult, with tight schedules and low pay, but they laid a solid foundation for his later film career. Robert often said that the stage taught him discipline and humility, qualities he carried with him throughout his life. In addition to Broadway, he acted in off-Broadway and regional theater, where he experimented with a variety of roles, from tragedy to comedy. These experiences helped him develop a natural acting style, avoiding over-the-top acting. He also began appearing on television with guest roles on series such as The Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, where he learned to adapt to the camera. Entering the world of theater was an important period, transforming Robert Redford from a young artist to a professional actor. He not only learned acting, but also learned about the entertainment industry with his first relationships in New York. These years were full of passion and challenge, preparing him for his entry into Hollywood. Robert Redford's personal life is a story of love, family, and profound loss, all of which he kept out of the spotlight. He first married Lola Van Wagenen in 1958, when they were both young and searching for their place in life. Lola, a historian and social activist, was Redford's ideal companion in his early career. They met in New York while Redford was studying acting, and their love quickly blossomed in the simple days before fame came to him. The couple had 4 children: Scott Anthony Shauna, David James, known as Jamie, and Amy. However, tragedy struck early when Scott, their first son, died just 2 months after his birth in 1959 from sudden infant death syndrome. Scott's death was a huge shock, leaving a deep wound in Redford and Lola's hearts, but also united them in their efforts to overcome the grief. Shauna, born in 1960, grew up to become a talented painter, inheriting her father's passion for art. Jamie, born in 1962, pursued a career in documentary filmmaking, focusing on social and environmental issues, reflecting the values passed down by Redford. Amy, born in 1970, chose the path of acting and directing, continuing the family's artistic legacy. Redford always tried to balance his busy career with his role as a father, but the pressure of fame and a tight work schedule sometimes made him feel distant from his children. In a rare interview, he once shared that one of his biggest regrets was not spending enough time with his family during the peak years of his career. The marriage to Lola lasted 27 years, but in 1985, they decided to divorce. The separation did not stem from scandal or public conflict, but was the result of differences in lifestyle and the pressure of Redford's fame. However, the two maintained a respectful relationship and raised their children together. After the divorce, Redford focused on work and social activities, but he was in no hurry to find new love. He once shared that after busy years, he wanted to take time to understand himself better before entering a new relationship. In 1996, Redford met Sibylle Zagars, a German painter, at an art event. Their relationship developed slowly based on a common understanding of art and love of nature. Sibyl, with her private lifestyle and passion for painting, became Redford's soulmate. They lived together in Sundance, Utah, where Redford built a life close to nature, far from the glitz of Hollywood. In 2009, after 11 years together, Redford and Sibyl married in Hamburg, Germany, in a low-key ceremony attended by only family and close friends. The marriage brought Redford peace, and he regularly appeared with Sibyl at environmental and arts events, where they worked together on creative projects. One of the biggest losses in Redford's life was the death of his son Jamie in 2020 from liver cancer. Jamie, who had spent his life making documentaries about social issues, was Redford's pride. Jamie's death came just a few years after he lost his close friend and longtime collaborator, Sidney Pollack, leaving Redford in a deep state of reflection. He kept a low profile during this period, spending time at Sundance, healing with family and nature. These losses greatly influenced his later work, especially films about family and rebirth, such as The Horse Whisperer and A River Runs Through It. In addition to his family, Redford was a dedicated environmental activist. He founded organizations such as the Natural Resources Defense Council and the Redford Center, which focused on protecting rivers, combating climate change, and promoting renewable energy. His love of nature stemmed from his childhood in Texas and was reinforced by his years in Utah. He was often involved in environmental campaigns, from opposing oil and gas exploration to supporting indigenous communities in protecting their lands. These activities were not only part of his personal life, but also a way for him to convey his message through cinema, such as in the Milagro Beanfield War and Sundance projects. Redford's personal life is a mixture of joy, pain, and dedication. He always keeps a distance from the media, avoiding sensational stories or scandals. For him, family and nature are important supports, helping him overcome the challenges of fame and loss. His life is a testament to how a Hollywood star can live authentically, with a heart always turned towards humane and sustainable values. On September 16, 2025, the world was shocked to hear that Robert Redford had passed away at his home in Sundance, Utah, at the age of 89. He passed away peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his loved ones. The news was confirmed by his family the following morning, and although the exact cause of death has not been released, the loss has left an unfillable void in the film industry and the hearts of millions of fans. Redford, who lived a life of passion and dedication, ended his journey in the place he loved most, the home in the Utah mountains where he built Sundance and devoted much of his life to protecting nature and art. The reaction from the public and his colleagues was immediate and global. Jane Fonda, her longtime co-star in Barefoot in the Park, and the Electric Horseman, shared a touching message, calling Redford her best friend and an enduring American icon. She recalled working with him, creating memorable cinematic moments, and emphasized that Redford was more than just an actor. He was also a tireless advocate for justice and the environment. Meryl Streep, who starred with Redford in Out of Africa, wrote a lengthy letter of gratitude, praising his flair for both acting and directing. She called him a great storyteller who touched the hearts of others with his heart. World leaders also paid their respects. The U.S. president at the time spoke at an event, calling Redford a national treasure and emphasizing that his legacy would continue to inspire future generations. The Prime Minister of Canada and the President of the European Commission also sent condolences, highlighting Redford's international influence through his films and environmental activism. Major film festivals such as Cannes, Berlin, and Venice held special screenings in his memory, with classics such as The Sting, All the President's Men, and A River Runs Through It being re-released to thousands of audiences. On social media, fans from around the world created an unprecedented wave of tributes. Millions of posts appeared with the hashtags Robert Redford and Sundance Legend, sharing personal memories of how his films changed their lives. A fan from Vietnam wrote that the final scene of The Way We Were made her cry and reflect on love and sacrifice. A young filmmaker from Nigeria thanked Sundance for giving him the opportunity to screen his debut film, which he said was a dream come true thanks to Redford's vision. Posts from Brazil, Japan, France, and India highlighted how Redford was not just a Hollywood star, but a global icon who used cinemas to connect people across cultural boundaries. Environmental groups also expressed their grief. The Natural Resources Defense Council, of which Redford was a founding member, released a statement calling him a guiding light in the fight against climate change. They pledged to continue his work, from protecting America's rivers to promoting renewable energy globally. The Redford Center, an organization he and his son Jamie founded, hosted a memorial service at the Sundance Resort, where hundreds of activists and filmmakers gathered to pay their respects. The Sundance Institute became the centerpiece of the memorial service. The 2026 Sundance Film Festival is scheduled to be themed, remembering Robert Redford, with special screenings and panels on his legacy. Young filmmakers, from those who were mentored by him to those who only knew him through his films, pledged to continue Sundance's mission of telling authentic and diverse stories. A female director from Mexico shared that Redford inspired her to pursue her dream of making films, even when she faced countless barriers in the industry. An Indigenous filmmaker from Canada said that Redford's support for minority communities changed the way their stories were told on screen. Redford's passing is not only a loss for the film industry, but also a reminder of the values he lived and dedicated to. He was a pioneer who used his art to promote change and protect what was most precious: people and nature. Although he is gone, his films, his stories, and his spirit will live on, like the wind that blows through the Utah mountains he loved. Robert Redford's death on September 16, 2025, marks the end of an era, but his legacy will endure, like the eternal mountains at Sundance, which he spent his life building and protecting. Redford was more than just an actor, director, or activist. He was a storyteller, a dreamer, and a pioneer who changed the way we see cinema and the world. His life was a long journey, from a mischievous California boy to a global icon who left an indelible mark on art, culture, and society. Redford's films, from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid to All the President's Men, from Ordinary People to A River Runs Through It, are not just works of cinema. They are stories of humanity, of courage, loss, and hope. He has given audiences unforgettable moments, from the Sundance cowboy jumping off a waterfall to Bob Woodward's relentless pursuit of truth in the shadow of Watergate. These roles have not only defined his career, but also shaped popular culture, becoming a symbol of timeless values, freedom, justice, and love. The Sundance Institute is Redford's greatest legacy, a testament to his vision of a world where everyone has the opportunity to tell their story. From his early days in Utah, when he turned a resort into a creative hub, to Sundance becoming the world's largest independent film festival, Redford has blazed a new path for cinema. Films like The Blair Witch Project, Little Miss Sunshine, and Get Out all bear the mark of Sundance, and through it, Redford. He not only supported filmmakers, but also empowered forgotten voices, from women to people of color to indigenous communities. Sundance is more than a film festival. It is a movement, a commitment to the idea that art can change the world. Beyond film, Redford has a legacy in the environmental field. His love of nature, which began as a child in Texas and was nurtured by his years in Utah, has become a driving force for environmental activism. He has fought tirelessly to protect rivers, forests, and ecosystems, from founding organizations like the Redford Center to using his films to raise awareness. Films like The Milagro Beanfield War and his documentary projects have inspired millions to take action for a sustainable planet. He has said that nature is not just where we live, but where we find meaning and healing. Redford's personal life, though private, is also part of his legacy. He was a father, husband, and friend who always put family and close relationships first. Losses in his life, from the death of his son Scott to the passing of Jamie, deepened him, and this is reflected in his films about family and rebirth. He lived an imperfect but meaningful life, always finding a balance between fame and simplicity. Redford's passing is a great loss, but it is also a reminder of the power of a life well lived. He proved that one can be a Hollywood star and an activist, an artist, and a conservationist. His legacy lies not only in his awards and films, but also in the dreams he inspired, from young filmmakers at Sundance to environmental activists around the world. Robert Redford lived like a flame, burning bright and spreading, and even though he is gone, that light will continue to guide future generations. Future generations. Future generations.